All right, guys. Well, this is what I've been waiting for. Welcome back to the Surviving COVID-19 series. David Holmes on behalf of homely.com.au. And today I've got Daniel Lee from Plum Property in Toowong in Brisbane. Dan's a very, very funny man. You've probably come across his videos on Instagram and YouTube describing some of his properties. It's going to be really enjoyable. Just down below, you'll find the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that. You'll get all the videos direct to YouTube. And also we're doing the podcast through Spotify. So you can follow homely.com.au on Spotify and make sure you're up to date. Dan Lee, there you are. How are you, mate?
Here I am. Very good. Living in this brave new world.
Yes, mate, you're, let's get straight into it. Social media, mate, you've created a hell of a presence in the last couple of years, but we'll get straight to social media, mate, but your background was very much in a fairly conservative sort of franchise brand. Tell us a bit about that, coming out of that and then being able to move into the environment where you could basically do whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah, so I started off in one of the major brands. It was LJ Hooker, if you want to know. And I was there for a long time and really enjoyed my time there, got a lot out of it. I think there's a lot of benefits to being in a franchise, but, eventually I always had the idea from the very beginning to one day start my own, whether that was going to be within some franchise or out there independently. And I chose independent at the end of the day. And one of the main reasons I did go that way is because I didn't want to be limited by my marketing abilities, because I've always known that marketing is so important, to be able to be remembered, to just stand out amongst the crowd in such a competitive environment. If you can market yourself better than anyone else in your area, it's going to do wonders for your business. And I always had that approach, and that's why I went independent.
All right. So, mate, safe to say you've done that very successfully. You are memorable indeed. You have created a big following, and your videos are very, very engaging and very captive, to the point where, there's probably a number of people that you could see on various platforms who've probably copied the Dan Lee model in a lot of ways. So not blowing smoke, mate, but that's a fairly clear case of that. So what was the one catalyst? How many years were you with LJ Hooker in the franchise group?
Almost 9 years all up with them.
But you had a university background before that, is that right?
Sure, yeah. So, I did a business degree at university before I got into real estate. So, and I always had the idea of going into business by myself at some point. It wasn't, when I was at university and had the degree, I didn't necessarily think it was going to be property. It's ended up that way.
Yeah.
But I did always want to go and be a business owner eventually. Looking back now, a lot of people, there's a lot of, I suppose, social media trainers and teachers and influencers who sort of really sort of poo-poo, or they shun that idea of university, especially for, the likes of real estate and entrepreneurs, et cetera, which you are, you're both. Would you still have done that business degree? Would you have completed that degree? Did that give you a basis or a foundation for what you're doing now? I certainly think I could do what I'm doing without it, but I think it helped in some ways. Some of what we learn at uni, I think is fairly irrelevant, but there's definitely parts of it that have made me a lot better at what I am today and honed some skills that I still use today for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's unpack that social media side of things a bit more, mate. You started your own brand called Plum Property. What's the thoughts behind the name? And when you started that, how was the acceptance of that around that?
Yeah, look, it's a bit of a story of, like, when you start a business, the first thing you think of is, what's the name going to be and what's the logo going to be? It's like the exciting things of starting a business.
Yes.
And, I guess I went out there, and in the beginning I was sort of trying to think of all these names that had to do with real estate, and I couldn't find anything that I liked that hadn't already been thought of or taken, or the domain was taken, or the business name was already taken.
Yeah.
So eventually, like, it was my business partner who said, why are you thinking of all these names to do with real estate? How there's, like, place, which, and space and open house realty and all this sort of stuff. My business partner said to me, that's been done, like, move forward on the whole name thing and change it up a bit. You don't have to call your business something that it has to do with, you know?
Yeah.
And so we started just thinking of all these random names that had a bit of a good sound to them. And Plum Property is just one on a list of about 20 that we had written down and thought sound pretty good. And we really wanted to use the color purple.
Yep.
So that sort of fell into the Plum name as well. Even though the plum in our name has nothing to do with fruit, it still resonates with that word. And yeah, we just kind of put a vote out to friends and family from our top names we eventually chose, and it came up that was the favorite. So it's not an exciting story, but there it is.
There it is. And why purple?
Just because purple's like a really happy color, and it's I thought it was kind of a classy color that you could, it just like a dark purple. I just thought it was a really classy color, and it's quite a happy color.
Yeah.
So that's why I liked it.
Cool. I first met you when you were at LJ Hooker, and then to see you sort of progress into your own brand has been pretty amazing, and your image and everything has changed very much. So when you first started doing those videos, what were your thoughts around that? Did you and Dylan, Dylan's your business partner, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Did you and Dylan sort of get together and say, right, we're going to do something different? You don't have to have a property-based name. We can do things outside the box. Let's do some videos that are a bit shocking and a little bit, different. How did that go? Was it a few beers one night, or was it what was the
No, I was just doing property videos. When you go for the listing and you've got different advertising options, I was always pushing video because I saw that it was a growing trend, and I knew that you could use that in different ways.
What year was that when you were starting to? Because you were fairly pioneering for around here for that.
Yeah, well, I was doing them back in the LJ Hooker days, but and like making them a bit funny, but I wasn't going as extreme as I do these days. And I don't know. I just got a really good response from when I started doing them with a bit more character, throwing some more funny twists into them. People just seemed to really like them, and they started taking off. So, when you get a good response from something, you double down on it. And so that's what I did. I sort of pushed the envelope a little bit, tried a few things that I thought is outside the box and may not look exactly like the normal straight-laced professional straight down the road sort of video. And by doing that, it got a lot more attention around what I was doing. And because I could see those results, I just thought, well, I mean, obviously it works. People like what I'm doing. And when I would go for further listing presentations, people would tell me how they've seen my videos and they were really interested in doing one for their property. Like, I don't even have to really sell the idea anymore when I go for a presentation. If someone knows what I do, they see it on Facebook or Instagram, they follow me. When I'm in there for that listing presentation, they're almost ready for me to, ask, are we doing a video? A lot of the time. So it's so easy now that I'm at that spot where people have seen those results that I get from them, that they want to get involved,
So do you remember what your first one was about when you first really decided to branch out and make it, truly Plum and truly very, very different? What was the first one about?
Oh, I don't know. I think it was just something about me pretending that I had a girlfriend when I didn't.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay. I hope that's changed.
I have to look it up. I can't remember what the first one was, but it was something like that.
All right. And so, mate, you say that now vendors or sellers are actually expecting you to do a video. So has it become its own business generation tool? People go like, I wouldn't mind Dan Lee doing a video around our property.
Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
There's a lot of people out there, and when you're in the mood for selling, I'm sure when people are out there and they're getting ready to sell, they're getting into property mode. That's when they start paying more attention to agents in the area. They'll probably notice signboards go up in their area, and that's at that point probably when they will start even engaging in more property videos that they see come on their page rather than flicking past them. And so when someone's in that mode, and then I'm popping up all the time with these eye-catching engaging videos, they then think, well, that seems like a really good way to push our property out there. It's, every time they turn on their phone, they're seeing another one of my properties turn up. They think, well, that's what I want with my property, for everyone to be opening their phone and seeing mine show up. So when I show up to the listing presentation, I say, is that what you want for your properties? That every person in the area turns on their phone and sees yours? Mm.
Did it become a recruitment tool? Because some of your guys now have sort of followed in the way that you do things, and equally as funny, like, Tyler, he does the auctions in your office as
Yeah.
well, also making some pretty funny videos, and Vern and the guys. So, and even Brett, I'm just thinking some of the ones that I've seen.
Yeah,
Has
yeah.
that
All
become
of
a
my
recruitment
staff
tool?
have really jumped on the video idea really well. Whether it was a recruiting tool or it just helped, them resonate with the brand that we had created a bit more, and say, yeah, look, if I'm going to be in a different agency, I like that style that
Yeah.
resonates with my personality. I'm sure it's helped in a lot of ways, and I've really encouraged from day one anyone joining my team that get your personality out there, get your face on the videos, get your face on those listings, and put a bit of personality into your videos, because it's going to work wonders for you. Your owners are going to love it. It's a great way to show everyone what you do and who you are. And yeah, in a lot of ways, it's helped the whole brand and each person individually.
Yeah. Mate, you're very honest about some of the properties that you market, and it makes me cringe sometimes. As an auctioneer, I'd love to be able to say, folks, we're auctioning this dump today, but we never can. You guys get away with it, and I love it, because you'll turn up and it is a dump, or it's a total renovator, and you're very honest about it. How do the vendors feel about that? Have you had any pushback, or are people mostly accepting they know what they've got?
Mostly accepting, but you gotta take the negative and turn it into a positive, right? So you don't just I'll very rarely rock up to a property. Well, I just won't rock up to a property and just say this is an absolute dump as if you'd buy it. I might go, yes, this place needs a hell of a lot of work. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Oh, geez, I wouldn't step on that balcony. You'll probably hurt yourself.
Yeah.
But you turn that around into what an opportunity it is. Buying the worst house in the best street is an investor's dream, really. So it's showing the negatives in a funny way, but then turning the whole idea of that opportunity, and presenting the possibilities and the potential that it has.
Yeah, there's always a positive. I know, like you might say,
Yeah.
it's
So
a
instead,
renovated.
there's no point in just showing the good. It's okay to show the bad, as
Yeah.
long as you can wrap that up as a fantastic opportunity altogether. Because every property, no matter whether it's in terrible shape, it can still be a very good deal. It can still be a very good opportunity, even though there's some really rusty parts to it. The opportunity can be great. So it's a way of making that really interesting, and not
Yeah.
just trying to polish a turd and look like you're trying to hide something.
I find it very refreshing, because, there are a lot of properties that get oversold. You read property descriptions, on homely.com.au, and you go, well, that's interesting. You probably oversold that a little bit. It's actually a very basic home, and you've made it sound a lot more grandiose than it is. So when
Yeah.
tuning up, it's like, it's a bit of a shock. But your videos certainly highlight, what the property actually is, very, very accurately, which is cool. Um,
Thanks.
so we talked about the recruitment side of things. So your team, it's a pretty cool vibe down there at the office. We've done a few
Yep.
meetings with the guys.
Yeah.
Mate, what's important about culture with the guys? You do a lot of videos, and obviously you do some good social things together. But how have you created such a tight knit group?
Um, I spend a lot of time with my team, trying to create who they are within their own brand, being very fair as a principle, in sharing costs of marketing them and really pushing them. And like at the moment, I'm doing a profile video for all of them. I'm taking a day out of my schedule every week to use that to go out with each salesperson and make a profile video with
Yeah.
them for their ongoing profile. And just creating a vibe of hard work, structure, teamwork. I know I'm just throwing words out here, but that's the vibe that we've got in the office. We're all really helpful towards each other. Every agent is completely different in their own way, but we share the ideas amongst each other, what's working out in our marketplace, because we do a farm area approach as well in our office. It's
Yeah.
not, every man for himself in every area. Each person has an area that's their exclusive prospecting area. So we share each other's ideas for how to market in your own way. And I think just that general vibe that we have of everyone sort of combining together to make Plum special and to make each person be as best as they can be. It's really great.
It's certainly, I think people throw around the term family way too much, but it certainly is
Yeah,
a very family vibe. And the way that you have allowed the guys to be themselves inside your brand is very, very cool. But can we just talk to that farm area? You mentioned that there, I mean, sometimes in this space now that we're in with social media and the reach being outside of, what you might have chosen to be your 800 to 1500 homes or whatever that is, do you still
yeah.
see farm prospecting as relevant and certainly still very strategic?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I think the best way and the quickest way to become really successful in real estate, if you don't have an already existing huge network somehow, if you came from a certain industry and you have all of these contacts and you're already 50 years old and have 30 years of experience in the workforce, if you're coming into a brand new area and you want to be a real estate agent and you don't have many contacts, the fastest way to become successful is farming a particular area and becoming the area expert around that. Because listings snowball from other listings, and if you're out there trying to pick one from this side of town and one from this side of town, you just will not be able to manage your time and prospect properly. And really, to become a fantastic agent quickly and consistently do well in this business, you have to prospect well and you have to prospect really smart. So farming area is the best way to do that by far, in my opinion. So with the Facebook thing, it's great for farming because you can directly target postcodes.
Geo target, yeah.
You can geo target straight down to your little, well, you can't be as direct as certain streets, but you can postcode, sponsor videos. So, most people will have a suburb or a postcode that they are doing as their farm area. So it works fantastically for that in terms of the sponsorship reach you can do.
Does the message change between the various platforms? So LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, say, or is your message same across each platform?
What do you mean by the message? Sorry, like.
So when you talk about, like your videos, would you use all of your videos on Instagram as well as Facebook, or would you structure a different, or would there be some videos that you wouldn't use on LinkedIn, being a more sort of business and?
No, I of course just use them all. Like, I'm not trying to change who I am on a different platform. I'm the same person. So I might change the amount of spend that I use on Facebook compared to LinkedIn or Instagram.
Sure.
I also shorten some of the videos. Most of the videos you'll see that I do might be anywhere from about 1.5 minutes to 2.5 minutes. If you want to sponsor a video on Instagram, it has to be less than a minute. Like the minute's the cutoff until it turns into an IGTV video. And you can't sponsor an IGTV video unless you have like 100,000 followers or something. So if you want to sponsor your Instagram video, it has to be under a minute. So sometimes you'll see that I'll cut a shorter version of the video for that, but that's the only reason why.
Okay. Mate, some of your videos in the last couple of weeks, it's you're fairly self-deprecating, and you're also taking a bit of the mickey out of some of the messages that other agents are sending, or it feels that way. What are you seeing at the moment in this pandemic that you just would like to, have a bit of straight talk around, if we're very, very honest?
I've had a few people say that one video that you're talking about was me taking the piss out of someone in particular, but that wasn't my intention. That was just me being a bit of a goofball. But yeah, look, I mean, sometimes I mix it up. Sometimes you'll see me actually do a serious video, but other times, I'm just playing around with the camera on an afternoon off or something and have something funny to say. But there's room for everyone on social media, and I do get a little bit sick of every single day, seeing too much of the same thing. Too much of the you got to do this, you got to do that motivational talks. And although I do watch some of that stuff sometimes, sometimes it's like, come on, give me a break. So, I like to just take the piss a little bit sometimes and have a bit of a laugh. But at the same time, I'm not saying there's no value in those types of videos. I also do them sometimes. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
mate, I'm putting you on the spot here, but a couple of top tips to what has worked. Maybe your top 2 or 3 things there, and a couple of tips about what hasn't worked. What you sort of might look back now and cringe at when you watch some old videos. Content.
What works is taking the piss out of yourself.
Yeah.
That works the most. So you got to be careful not to offend people, and it's very easy to do in this day and age. So if you take the piss out of yourself, then there's no harm done, right? So if you can do that, you'll do all right.
If you end up offending yourself, you've got other issues. Yep.
No one cares if you're taking the piss out of yourself.
Good.
So just do that.
Yep.
What hasn't worked? I've done a couple of rude jokes that, you know, just with a certain age bracket didn't go down that well. You know, like my mother told me, that was a stupid post. Why'd you do that? And I said, Mum, it's fine, you know. But she's like, you know, I'm like, sometimes I push the boundaries a little too much, but, you know, doesn't matter. I'm not going to point out a particular one. I've done one that I actually deleted before.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
If mum's the barometer, mate, it's probably not too bad. You recently ran a competition, mate. Tell us a bit about the details of that. Did it work? Because you did it, I think the idea was to run it before COVID-19, and then you decided to run it in it and see how it went.
Oh, no, it just fell into place that it would happen sort of during the lockdown of COVID-19. So it's a little side sort of company that we're creating called Plum Promotions, and it's just a platform we're going to use to promote other businesses in the area. You know, we don't intend on making a really big business out of this. It's more for a bit of fun and a bit of extra promotion for us and businesses surrounding us. So the competition was just basically a giveaway of, you know, 4 big prizes, and all you had to do was follow the accounts to, you know, be in the draw. It was fairly successful. I think probably those sorts of competitions dying down a bit on Instagram now, because they're, you know, it's not a new thing that I was creating. I've seen many competitions just like it. So yeah, it was actually pretty successful. Probably didn't quite reach the target I'd hoped, but still was a decent result.
Yeah.
Mate,
biggest challenge that you've seen in the last couple of weeks or the last month?
I don't know, man. What is the biggest challenge in the last couple of weeks or months? You tell me. Are you saying that in regards to COVID?
I am, because I think we spoke a couple of weeks ago, and I think you said we've gone 3 or 4 days without an appraisal. Like it's
yeah. Okay, I thought you just meant like generally. Like, has anything different happened?
No, not at all. No, specifically, through the COVID.
So biggest challenge is at the moment. Well, usually it's funny, you know, with most markets, you'll either have a buyer's market or a seller's market, right? So, you know, your buyer's markets, there's you know, too many sellers and not enough buyers, and that usually pushes the prices down, and the opposite for the seller's market. The seller's market, the prices go up. But hard to say what this market is, because both sellers and buyers have dropped off.
It's like there's new rules, right?
Yeah. So, you know, because people don't want to sell because either they're a little bit fearful of the virus. So certainly, like what we've seen, you know, we had listings coming on where the age bracket of the owners were 60 plus, and most of those owners, you know, halted things. And fair enough, because they've got to be careful about, you know, contracting the virus. Obviously, their health comes first. And, you know, family members of theirs telling them, definitely, you know, we don't want you, you know, having people coming through the house and that sort of thing. So that whole age bracket there's really put selling their home on hold.
Sure.
Younger people, obviously, you know, there's still first home buyers. We're seeing them out there in the marketplace, but generally, like, lots of buyers just sort of all of a sudden sitting on the fence, either just really waiting to see what happens, you know, and whether or not, like, deciding whether or not now is a good time to buy or to wait 6 months, you know. So you've just got a lot of people on both sides sitting on the fence waiting to see what happens. So it's really just activity has really slowed down on both sides. You know, usually if it either type of market it is, buyer's market or seller's market, we're super busy. You know, we've either got too many listings and we're running buyers and doing extra inspections, or we don't have enough listings, but we got heaps of buyers. And so we're out there, you know, prospecting, hunting and doing all that. But right now it's like both sides have kind of dropped off by at least 50% from what I can see.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've got, as agents, for the first time in my life, a bit of time on our hands to work on some extra things. So
what are you working on?
We're working on, you know, profile videos for ourselves. We're working on a whole bunch of marketing so that, because, you know, things will turn around. When exactly they'll get back to what they were, we don't know, but they will turn around, and whether that's slow or very quick, it's hard to say. But we're just getting a whole lot of marketing things in place.
Do you think they will get back to what they were, or do you think things will change and that we will have adapted fairly significantly through this time?
I think things will get back to where they were, but it will be a bit of a slow change, you know, because, you know, not every business is going to go, you know, right back to where it was. There is going to be more unemployment. There are going to be businesses that suffered a lot. There are going to be families and households and jobs lost that are all affected. So it will take a bit of time, but I'm pretty confident that it'll be back to what it was in, you know, maybe 12 months, maybe a bit more. Who knows? Hard to say.
Hey, it's crystal ball stuff. That.
Yeah, it's crystal ball stuff. You know, I'm not an economist.
We're not.
Huh?
Yeah, we won't include you as.
I did a business degree, but I'm not an economist.
No, fair enough. I love asking those questions around. You know, what is it in 18 months' time? Will you be really proud of that you did through this time? When you had time, and I like the fact that you're investing with the guys. You're doing profile videos. You're maintaining that. And it'd be very difficult right now because the social media space is particularly noisy throughout this time, with so many more people jumping on, trying to create a profile and trying to get some following around it. You guys were very active in that space leading up to, so you naturally have a momentum that you'll be able to maintain. But it would be a hard job. So doing that, what else will you be happy that you've done, or what will you, you know, potentially, I suppose the other side of it is an uppercut to yourself. What will you think in 12 months or 18 months' time, you know, do you wish you'd done more of, or wish that you
So, you know, I've just been making sure that I'm keeping fit every day. I'm doing like exercise every day. So I'm going to be really happy to come out of this like healthy and not in worse shape.
Ready to go. Yep.
Yeah, not in worse shape, because I'm sure a lot of people will come out of this whole experience in worse shape and maybe not feeling as physically good as they were before it, because it is hard. Like, don't get me wrong, I need just as much motivation to do that stuff as everyone else. I'm not like, I get up my hardest part of the day. I do my exercise in the morning most of the time. And I always struggle with it every day, getting up out of bed and then, you know, getting those gym clothes on and actually getting into it. I really struggle with it every morning to get started. Once I get started, it's okay, but it's the getting to that bit, you know.
How important is it to you as a way of clearing the mind and setting yourself up for the routine for the day?
It's very important. I just physically feel like I have more energy, and, you know, I like it when my body hurts a little bit all the time from working out. It just kind of tells you that you're you know, getting fitter, because when your body's hurting, it's your muscles, you know, recuperating and whatever. So I like to have that feeling of muscle pain somewhere from whatever I've done. And yeah, I just think doing regular cardio and regular strength training is just overall is good for your health. Makes you feel good, you look better, you feel better. And when you feel like that, you're going to work better as well.
Confidence, absolutely. Yeah. Mate, we love having you on board today, doing a bit of work with us and having a chat very openly about your business there. Mate, you do things very differently. Obviously, we do things differently in the portal space, and you've backed us at homely.com.au. What was your MO there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I came across Homely about 4 or 5 years ago when I was at ARIC, the ARIC conference, which is the Gold Coast each year, which I always go to. And I was just having a chat with a couple of guys, and I jumped on Homely and started just putting my listings up there. But you guys approached us recently to sort of involved in the premier part of Homely, and just explained what your journey and your mission was for Homely, and it kind of really appealed to us because the real estate space is so dominated by realestate.com, and I think it's one thing that really agitates everyone in the real estate game is that they kind of have a control over what, you know, advertising costs.
Yeah.
And we don't really have a choice but to use them, and yet we don't have another player out there. We've got Domain, but I feel like they're just too similar, and you know, one may dominate in a couple of different cities more than the other, but they're kind of the same thing. Big companies run by, you know, big media, Fairfax, or you know, who's the other one? Fairfax owns one, and you know, the idea that Homely is privately owned. Their mission is to be a cheaper version, but not cheaper in quality, but a cheaper version that you can use for your everyday property. And you know, they've got the way that they've got their whole blogging set up, and the way you can develop a profile and talk about streets, and you can get your owners on there to talk about, you know, what they love about the street. Kind of makes a bit of a community within the website, which I thought was something new and something different. Yeah. And then they've just got a lot of other really good tools around personal branding for the agents, which I thought could potentially be really useful for us down the track, you know, because they've got, you know, Rate My Agent's a site that a lot of agents use out there, which I use a lot and I think is very helpful. But for the customer to be able to go to one place and you to have this fantastic profile with all of your stuff, and for them to search for property at the same time, I just think there's some tools in there that the other sites haven't quite got right, and Homely seems to have a few of these new ideas which I like. So that's one of the main reason I thought, you know, I like the vision, I like the cost for the client, and the fact that it's a privately owned business. You know, I really like where it's going.
Yeah, cool. But do you have any suggestions about what needs to change in the portal space? You're at the coalface. You know, you also have a hell of a following. You know, we talked about your social media, and you get appraisals from that. You get business from that. What needs to change in the portal space?
I'll tell you what needs to change in the portal space is not allowing agents to upload videos which are absolute nonsense, meaning a slideshow of the photos with some background music. Because that's what makes customers not want to watch property videos anymore, is because some agents will throw up a property video which has no relevance to what they're doing. Why the hell would a client want to watch a slideshow of your zoomed in photos really slowly when they can click through the normal photos at their own pace? It's ridiculous, and I've had that problem with realestate.com for many years.
Hold on. That's your competition, mate. Surely the more people that are doing that, it makes your job a little bit easier.
Yeah, look, it makes me stand out, which is great. And it makes other agents who put effort into their videos stand out. It makes that agent look shit. But it also makes, like, clients, if too many agents are putting up videos of a slideshow, then clients start going, oh, they don't want to watch the video when it comes up, like it says, you know, look at the photos, do you want to watch the video? And they'll choose not to watch the video of an agent because they think they're going to get another slideshow. Yep. And they should just ban slideshows. They're horrible. And no one wants those agents that are doing it. Don't do it. It's no good for you. You're not going to get listings doing that. Okay. Stop it. Mate. Stop it now.
Very, very good advice. Dan, I'm going to wrap it up there, mate. That's some very, very sage advice at the end. Stop doing slideshows. Mate, thanks for giving us half an hour today.
You could really see that it was burning me up talking about it, didn't you?
Absolutely.
You
Mate,
really
we're going to,
touched a heartstring there, mate.
I think so. I think we've touched a sore point, mate. I'll be bringing
Yeah.
that up with a few other things. Mate, we look forward to seeing your next outrageous video on Instagram and Facebook. But, mate, thank you for today.
Thanks. No worries, David. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.